Greetings everyone, I have returned, and with it I bring Mega Stone Swaps. Now I don't know who exactly this originated from, but I heard about it from Tropy and decided I thought it'd be kind of fun. So basically, take a Mega Stone from one Pokemon, give it to another, and then see how that affects it. It's pretty simple, all things considered. And while most people do just 2, I got a little indecisive, so we're doing 4. And first up, we have Gardevoir with the Magearnite. Now, Magearna I definitely knew I wanted to utilize because it's a really robotic design, which opens itself up to a lot of possibilities. Though considering Magearna's Megastone was explicitly created to boost the power of a Pokemon that is completely artificial, I imagine Mega Evolving any Pokemon with a Magearna Megastone would turn it into a synthetic version. And there are 3 Mega Evolving Pokemon who already have synthetic versions. Gallade, Gardevoir, and Tyranitar all already have Paradox forms through Iron Valiant and Iron Thorns, which are, technically speaking, synthetic versions of them, with Iron Valiant very clearly taking some from Mega Gardevoir. But I didn't just want to do a metallic Mega Gardevoir, because as I said, Iron Valiant exists. So I decided, what if the Magearna Megastone kind of forced a weird metallic version of Gardevoir into existence? Sort of like the Metal Virus from the IDW... Actually, was it IDW? One of the Sonic comics. But yeah, Metal Virus takes over a person, turns them into living metal. And I kind of wanted to do the exact same here, because Magearna's Megastone being explicitly meant to boost Magearna's power and nothing else, I feel if you give it to another Pokemon, it's just giving it the rest of Magearna's power, forcing it into a synthetic form that it was never meant to be in. So I wanted this form to look unnatural, kind of stiff, because it's not meant to exist. Then Gardevoir's usual, I guess, rib thing? I don't really know what it is, but the spike going through the middle of Gardevoir is now a heart to reference Magearna's whole heart motif. It also fully adopted Magearna's type, because the psychic aspect is no longer there. The incorrect Megastone that is Magearna has overpowered what Gardevoir was. Where you would originally hope to find compassion, you'll now only find robotic obedience. It's wielding power it was never meant to wield that, quite frankly, its body isn't compatible with. It's kind of a tragic Mega, but then again, so are a decent amount of them, so I feel it's pretty on brand. Then when we come to Electros, it has the Golurkite. And with Golurk's Megastone, really it was pretty simple, just putting Golurk's body, for the most part, on top of Electros, with the hands and arms kind of adopting a more blue electric or spirit look, and some parts of its body sparking up with blue electrical spectral energy. I have done a Mega Electros before, it was a long time ago, but this isn't too entirely dissimilar from what I did then. It's probably the most straightforward out of all these Megas, but I mean, Electros was already a giant floating eel. Like, there's not much else I can do. Though Electros, much like Gardevoir, doesn't exactly come out unscathed from this occasion, because Golurk's new body forced onto Electros is so large that Electros can't freely move, and it is now grounded, but in exchange it's electric ground type. So no longer has Levitate, can be hit by ground type moves, but it's not weak to ground anymore, so. And I am glad to see more Gen 5 Mons get Megas, especially Golurk and Electros, because they're just cool. But I feel like trying to merge the two is pretty difficult, because even just going off of fusion alone, the two don't share a lot of similarities. And it's not like they're really super changeable. Unlike Mons that are slimy like Ditto or Muck, you can't really mold them, and well, there's not really much to change between them. So I feel like I merged the ideas the best I could, but I'm sure there's better ways to do it. Then, for Magearna, it gains the Electrocite. And as a result of the wrong Mega Stone being given to it, it did unlock more potential, but it unlocked the wrong potential. Its heart is still sealed because, well, its normal Mega Stone is what helped unlock its full power, so. But it's also now adapted to be a more mermaid, lamia, monsterish form. It was given the potential to become more, but it wasn't given the right potential. The Pokeball on Magearna's skirt? Dress? Well, one of them. Now, where the button is an Electros mouth. Then, her hands, rather than splitting apart to become cannons like in the regular Mega, now mimic Electros's arms, with the positive and negative charge, as well as her actual hands levitating just a bit away from the arms. Speaking of, Electros has Levitate as its ability, and Magearna unlocked this form after being given the Electrocyte, so naturally she absorbed the Levitate ability from it, making this design a Steel-Electric type with Levitate. You're welcome. The torso took on more elements of Electros, because if I remember correctly, that's where the Mega Stone is meant to go, so I think that's where the Mega Energy would be concentrated most, but still. Also, this version of Magearna just looks more wired, mainly because she is more wired, like quite literally. You basically plugged her into a giant eel-shaped battery. Of course, she's gonna be a little wired. And because why not, she can go in the water. Because what's the point of making it a mermaid-esque design if it's not gonna be somewhat aquatic? So it's a constantly energized automaton taser that can travel underwater and levitate off the ground. Maybe it's a good idea she had a custom Mega Stone, because if Magearna had found the Electrocyte and evolved, yeah, she would have been way too busted. Then finally, the one you saw in the thumbnail, Golurk with the Gardevoirite. Look, I know some of you were wanting a waifu Golurk, but that just ain't the vibe for this one. Golurk as it stands is bulky. Gardevoir, even in its Mega form, is not. Mega Gardevoir, in terms of defenses, can be best described as a toothpick in a nightgown. So I could not pass up on the idea of a Golurk whose armor just absolutely gets blasted off its body, because the energy within the Gardevoirite is meant to supercharge Gardevoir, and Gardevoir is all about psychic powers. So with Golurk's already difficult to contain energy being supercharged, its previous armor now explodes off of it, with Golurk being able to reassemble some pieces to at least still have a semi-human form, but most of it just being energy. And Golurk's body does take the shape of Gardevoir, with its little band-aid coming out of the chest like Gardevoir's horn, and Golurk's hands now being Gardevoir's little pinchers, I guess? The energy is affected by the Mega Stone, giving its unruly form something it can mold to. So while the energy is trying to take the shape of Gardevoir, it's not actually effectively doing it. It's basically raw, brutal, unrestrained power trying to force itself into a mold. It can somewhat get it, but not enough to truly manage anything. It's now Ghost Fairy type, which, pretty good typing. Mimikyu was already a menace, and it's kind of mediocre without its ability. So now, something with Golurk stats, also getting a plus 100, I think it could be pretty busted. Though as I said, if you expected a waifu Golurk, that's a failure of your own expectations. Shame on you. And anyway, this is Jay, signing away, forever and always. Bye-bye.